course, we're talking to Dr. LMadu3, and the topic is the narco states of West Africa. And of course, Dr. LMadu3, I think that they would have, the audience probably saw us laughing about a lot of this, and I think that we both admitted that the information that you're talking about and the impact that it is having upon the people of the west coast of Africa is so tragic that the only way that you can keep from crying over it is to find some kind of humor in it. And absolutely we know that there's no humor in reference to this, but this is a real tragic kind of situation, and let's allow you to continue on talk about this as an issue.
And you know, the basic problem here, you know, if you think about it, is the political consequences. Yeah, the political and economic consequences, you know, and it's not to joke about. When these cartels get entrenched in these countries, okay, they can influence the outcome of elections. We already have bad elections in Africa. Think about it. With the money they have, they can influence who becomes the president, who becomes the prime minister, okay? All that. Okay, so that is the danger that I foresee, and that's what is worrisome now. Yeah, that they can buy the entire country and put whomever they want in power, and the ordinary people can't do a thing about it. You see? And you know politicians need money to run for elections.
Okay.
And when the cartels come and say, hey, this is 1 billion, finish.
That's right.
Yeah, and you become president. What will you do? You are beholden to them.
That's right.
Okay, you are beholden to them, and that's what has been happening in Guinea-Bissau. Because a lot of those drug barons have bought most of those politicians, including the president himself, you know, with millions of dollars to keep quiet and just, you know, let them do what they want to do. And that's what is bothersome. Guinea the same. You saw if the son of the president and the wife and all this are involved in it, they can shape policy the way they want to in favor of the drug barons. You can't stop them. Okay? Yeah, when they're shipping these drugs in diplomatic pouches, they're influencing politics in those countries. So that's what some of us are worried about now. And one will say, well, after saying all this, then what are you going to do about it?
Okay.
How is it going to be dealt with? And I think the United Nations, you know, and the United States, or even the Security Council of the United Nations, you know, should get involved. You know, should get involved in training or retraining, you know, the security forces in those countries. It wouldn't be even out of way to say, hey, let some of our drug agents from this country go and live in Guinea-Bissau for a while. Okay. You know, train their own drug agents, help them keep an eye on the coast. Even send some Marines or whatever over there to stay for a while and make sure the coast is protected, you know, and help them train their police and all that to understand how this is operate. And moreover, give them more economic, you know, economic aid to help them overcome poverty.
So it really is not in the best interest of the Western world, the United States especially, to have all of this going on in that kind of situation, do you think?
Not when we say we are fighting terrorism. Yeah, because with so much money in the hands of those drug dealers in Africa, they can become a heaven, you know, for another group of terrorists. You see what the Mexican government is going through. So when you have the narco terrorists in Africa, you know, they can ally themselves with you know, religious terrorists we are fighting. Now it becomes a deadly combination. What can say, you know, that some of Bin Laden's folks wouldn't say, hey, let's go to Bissau. Okay. Yeah, since he's free.
And all it takes is money.
All it takes is money. Yeah, let's go to Bissau and settle. You know, since the drug cartels can go there, we can go over there and live and plot terrorism activities against the United States. So it's not in our interest to have that happening, you know, in Guinea-Bissau. You have Senegal just next door, and Senegal is a good friend of the United States, a stable, democratic country. It can be destabilized.
It can, very easily
exactly, by the drug cartels in Guinea-Bissau. You have Gambia, a small country just next door also. You know, it can be destabilized by what's happening in Guinea-Bissau. You know, you have Togo, all those countries on the West Coast that are at least relatively quiet now, they all can come under the influence of the drug cartels and become heaven for narco-terrorists. So that's the strategic implication there. So it's not something the United States or the Western European countries should ignore.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. And who can say that, hey, if they can use that as a source of transshipment to Europe, well, it can become a jumping ground, a jumping off ground for terrorists to go to Europe and from there to the United States. So that's very important. Now, like I said before, in the 19th century, Africa was torn apart by slavery.
Okay.
You know, was completely destroyed, devastated by slavery because of Europe's need for slaves to come and work. Now you have another type of slavery, you know, cocaine slavery.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the leaders of these countries.
Which is just as devastating.
Exactly, which is just as devastating as the slave trade. The only difference is that people are not being dragged out from there now, but it's the same thing almost. Okay, you have the chiefs in Africa collaborating, colluding, you know, with the European nations to sell slaves. Now you have the governments themselves colluding with drug barons, you know, to sell their own people. That's precisely what is happening. When a government is acquiescing to drug, you know, barons, running their own country, depriving their own people, you know, that's exactly what it is. It's the same mentality. Okay, it's the same mentality. The only difference is that people are not being shipped away. But
they're not in chains leaving,
exactly,
but
you're not in
chains.
You're in chain right there.
Right there.
Exactly, you're in chain right there. Okay, so if these countries are selling their own people away, they're selling their own countries' people away to the drug dealers. Because when the drug dealers control these countries, the regular poor African in those countries don't have nothing to say.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Yeah. You're subjugated and subdued in your own country because you are poorer living in your own country. And you can't do nothing about it.
And especially with all the wealth, Dr. Madu.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, of Africa and the west coast of Africa.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the way it looks. If you look at it, that's exactly what it is. You know, it's just a modern day slavery, but under a different guise. Now it's cocaine slavery. You know, it's not a transatlantic slavery
trade
to come over here, slave trade to come over here. Yeah, it's transatlantic cocaine trade to subdue Africans in Africa. Okay, so that's the danger there, and that's what is sad about the whole thing about you know, governments in Guinea-Bissau and Guinea doing these things to their own people. So that's what I want, you know, people in this country to know and understand, and help these countries, you know, fight off this spread.
And as you indicated, that the very fact that it's where it is, that it destabilizes all of those other relatively stable West African countries.
That's correct, because from one country moves to the other.
That's right.
From Guinea-Bissau, you have it in Guinea-Conakry.
That it's going to stop there.
That's correct.
It wouldn't make any sense for it to stop there.
That's correct. It wouldn't make any business sense for them to stop there.
That's right.
The next day they encroach on Senegal. The next day you hear they are in Senegalese coast.
That's right.
The next day you hear that they are, you know, on the coast of Togo. The next day you hear that, exactly, and that's the way it will spread. So it has to be nipped in the bud.
But right now,
in Guinea and Guinea-Bissau to stop it from spreading. See, so that's very important. That's what I want people to understand. That the American government to act.
That it has to act quick, because you just can't decide to stand around and watch it happen for the next several months or years, and then expect it to all of a sudden disappear.
That's correct. and those countries where the governments are cooperating, you know, the International Criminal Court needs to look into it.
Good.
To see about prosecuting, you know, those officials who are collaborating with the drug dealers. I think that's one way to start.
Right.
Is have them indicted by the International Criminal Court, you know, and charged, you know, for crimes against humanity.
Okay, and Dr. Madu, of course, we're at the end of this show for today, and let me again thank you for bringing about that information, as well as the earlier information that we talked about dealing with this same topic, and to know that at least this information is out now, which is to say that I was almost ignorant in terms of the impact that it was having now, and I think that I understand better about what is going on, and I think that if I understand better, and I'm almost sure that others also have a better understanding, And I want to thank you for bringing us that excellent information this morning. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.
You're watching My TV 30, WUX.